Camera number 41 of 365 is the Pentax MZ60. It's a camera that requires batteries to operate all of its controls, so let's straight away put some batteries into the base of the camera by undoing the door and placing two CR2 batteries with the positive terminal uppermost, and then just sliding the door tight. So we have the Pentax mount, which can be undone by pressing the button, rotating the lens left there. This is the Pentax FA 35 to 80. I believe it was the kit lens that came with this camera. So looking at the front of the camera, you can see the contacts that communicate the various things to the lens. And then over the other side we have a slider, a rocker button, which allows us to choose manual focus or autofocus. And then an aperture button that when we're in manual mode, yes, it has a manual mode, this camera. We control the aperture value by pressing that button and rocking the rocker switch just above the shutter button here. So let's just put the lens back on the camera. The lens needs to be put on A for us to use the camera with all its functionality. So looking at the front of the camera then, let's just run through some of the functions. Turn the button, or turn the camera on by pressing the button, and then we see in our liquid crystal display. So turning on the left here, our mode button, which allows us to change various aspects of our camera. And invariably we have to either hold it down. So in fact let's just run through that, because holding it down in this mode allows us to run through the various creative program modes and other modes. So we have a happy face here, which is basically a point and shoot camera. Camera makes all the decisions regarding aperture and shutter and whether it needs a flash or not. And then if we hold the button down and rock the button, we can go through portrait mode, landscape mode, macro mode, sports mode, nighttime portrait, and then we have shutter priority. And so rocking the button allows us to change our shutter, and it will automatically change the aperture accordingly. If we hold the mode button down again and rock the button, we go to aperture priority, which again this time changes the aperture. And then in manual mode, it naturally defaults to using the shutter, or changing the shutter with the rocker button. And as I mentioned earlier, if we hold the other button on the front here, the AV button, that allows us to change our aperture. Just going below here, we have an auto exposure lock and a flash pop-up button. And then on the other side we have, in addition to our mode, an ability to set the time and date for the camera. And then we can toggle through red eye reduction, flash and no flash. And then we have self timer with this other button. And we can go through multiple exposure. There aren't much choices, either 1 or 2. And then we can go to the other button. Sorry, the button has another functionality in changing our release mode to a single release or continuous release. So that's running through the basic functions of the camera. It's a very light camera, very easy to hold, and it does deliver the goods, as hopefully my photos will demonstrate at the end. I forgot to mention there is a little sensor here for a remote control. So let's just put a film through the camera now, and to do that we release the film door by sliding the slidey door and then putting our film in, and then we just have to stretch the film up to the little marker, orange, the marker there, and there we go, and it winds on to number 1. So we're in manual, so hopefully that should, tell you what, let's turn it into manual focus. And I will rewind the film later on, because I want to save that, but the camera will automatically wind the film back into the canister. So that's really it as far as camera number 41 goes, the Pentax MZ60.